Hey folks, welcome back to our Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Starship Interstellar. Starship Interstellar is brought to you by Pendragon Game Studio. It's for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, and games generally run 90 to 120 minutes. The year 2357, in stark contrast to mankind's hopes, violent astronomical events, and the unregulated use of the new solar extraction technology have greatly accelerated the growth rate of our star. Now the sun is nearing the end of its life cycle and its fate. As any other star of its category, it is to transform into a red giant. This will result in an exceptional increase in volume that will cause it to engulf Mercury, Venus, and possibly Earth itself. In the best case scenario, the increase in volume would stop short of our planet's destruction, but life as we know it would have already been destroyed due to radiation and the dramatic increase in surface temperatures. Our only hope as mankind is to build a colossal interstellar spaceship that would allow a fraction of humanity to evacuate to a new Earth. We have located such a planet in the TRAPPIST-STAR system during our search for all viable planets. Such a project, however, is far from simple. The resources we need can't be found on our planet, and the few made available from the solar extraction technology are still insufficient. The only way to complete this monumental task is to harvest the materials needed directly from the other planets of our solar system. Every player will guide a nation with the aim of becoming the foremost contributor in the race for the interstellar spaceship. If mankind is to be saved, whichever nation will be deemed the greatest contributor will have the honor of guiding humanity on this new Earth. So this is a big, expansive game. It is a competitive game, but there are cooperative elements. You all are trying to build the spaceship, and you are trying to put colonists into cryogenics so you can get them off the planet. But you know, you're trying to be the governor or the player that gets the most prestige at the end of the game. Now, this overall board, something I really like. It feels like Command Central. It feels like you're sitting in front of huge monitors and dictating the future of humanity. So first you have the solar system, which is so cool. You set up the planets and they all have a suggested starting spot, which is printed on the boards. Remember, this is just a prototype, so everything here is flat, but in the final version of the game, all the planets and ships will all be 3D. Now the solar system is divided into quadrants, as well as showing orbits for the planets. The small circles you see is where the planets will move around the sun on each of the different rounds of the game. And that's crucial because you have to use resources like fuel to move between the planets. And when they come into closer areas for orbit is when you might want to visit those areas and then potentially get off. You always have to make sure you have enough fuel to do all the things you need to do, or you're gonna lose prestige points, which is really not the path you want to go down. So you keep that in mind. This really is your overall where you are in the galaxy and what you're doing. Now you move over to the side of the board, you can see the death spiral of the sun basically, with the Earth in the middle as it's encroaching, getting bigger, even closer. And around it you'll have this circle. You're going to be moving the marker around as you still use resources for the sun. Yes, you're going to use the resources up to its last moment until it becomes that red giant and engulfs the Earth most likely. But there's two main tracks here. You're going to be moving along the solar exploitation track as you pull resources from the sun. It is a blind bag draw, and you'll set this up based on player count with the different types of resources, but it will move this track. And once you hit your player count, then you move to the sun track and you move one space. Now, the thing is, if there's an exclamation point, that triggers an event. These events will hasten the governments to go, hey, things are getting worse, so we need to move more people into cryogenics. It'll show what colors. Also, it also hastens the end of the game because it'll move one step closer to the sun engulfing everything. Now this track, once it reaches the end, is one of the game triggers if the sun basically blows everything up. Along the way, you'll blow up Venus, you'll blow up Mercury, and eventually engulf the Earth. So to end the game and save humanity in a good way, you have 3 possible options. You need to do 2 of these. First one is this probe, which lives under the sun. You are sending a probe to TRAPPIST. Everybody has their own probe, and you're trying to find the best path for the starship. Along the way, you're going to get resources, you'll get prestige, all kinds of different things as you find that best path. There's tiles that come out, so it's random in every game, and there's a different system along the side showing you what your results will be as you put tiles out. Now, also, you're going to be building technologies to build the starship. You need to build 3 pieces of the starship, or you need to put a number of people into cryogenics. Again, based on player count, will determine how many you need to have in those rows. But again, those are the 3 possible things you need to do. And 2 of those will trigger the game end. So that's basically the top half of the board. You do have a marketplace where you can buy, sell, and exchange resources. It will max out at your current player count. But, let's talk resources. Every player is going to have their own player board with tech trees. You're going to have to use scientists and specific types of resources to build out these trees. Different types of buildings to aid you in mining, also giving you different travel abilities throughout the galaxy, all kinds of different things here to consider. And every player is a different nation, but you're going to use scientists to activate those slots as well as pay the resource cost. So you'll see why you need the different colored cubes and so forth. Also, you're going to need those resources to help build out the starship as well, because that is key to ending the game and getting humanity off the planet. So it is really crucial how you lay that out. Now, you're not going to be able to do everything. Your resource of scientists is finite. You can get more, but you have to be mindful about what your strategy is going to be for that type of game. Now, you're obviously going to be traveling to the different planets. And once you do, you can set up a base and start to mine it. Now, depending on what types of tech you have, buildings will determine what you can build there. And one of the really nice ones is like ARS will allow you to basically transport the different resources from the planet directly to your supply. So it's a key building to have. But you'll see that every player has their own set of action tiles, which is basically the things we've been talking about. You'll be using action tiles in order to do the various things around the main board. But when it comes to mining, you'll have specific ones for the planets that you'll be able to use as well. And there's all kinds of key things about these tiles, about how you use them. Some can be reused, some are just one-time use for your turn, but the actions do correspond to what you're doing out on the main board, as well as, building out your tech trees and so forth. So let's quickly look at the bottom half of the board. So you have your prestige level. This will fluctuate up and down through the course of the game because you do have reputation to be mindful of, and as you do various things, it's going to move up and it's going to move down, and you might have to sacrifice points at times in order to do all the things you need to do. And a lot of these actions are going to obviously play into each other. So you might take a hit one turn, but then you make great gains in the next turn. You have your cryogenic tubes, so to say, where you place meeples over on the far left of the board. Now, again, this is based on player count, how many you're going to need over there, but you will be placing them into their slots. And then you've got your progress summary. There's a couple different tracks here you have to be mindful of. You have the leaders of humanity, how well you've done basically in saving the population, moving them to cryogenics. You'll get bonuses for that. You have also the track for leaders of mechanisms, or the technology you're placing into the starship that you're building basically together. But you'll get bonuses for that as well, moving along those tracks. And then this will also help you set up turn order track for next round and so forth. So also you have the government board. You can send scientists here to get bonuses, and hopefully moving them higher up in the ranks, in order to hold that governor position and get the maximum amount of points and bonuses as you try to get more prestige and be the overall winner in the game. And then of course you have your starship that you're building. You'll be moving the different technologies, using resource and getting prestige into the ship, building out the different components. And as you reach your player count for the different parts of the ship, you'll flip them over showing they're built. Again, you need at least 3 as part of the end game condition. So that's a broad look at this main board. Now, a lot of what I showed you are the basics of what you're going to be doing through the course of the game. There's really 3 phases, and you're using your action tokens to do most of the things I showed you. Now, there's some intricacies here that we did not diving into. If you want a full how to play, they have some really nice ones, go check them out. But one of the things I do like about the individual phases is that you can choose to pass. You have a pass token, and as play continues around the table, you increment that token, hoping to get a certain type of resource by the end of the phase. Or if it makes it all the way around, you can pick whatever resource you want. But I like that aspect, give you a reason to kind of hold back on this particular phase of the round. So you really have the three phases. You have the action phase where you will be exploring the solar system. You'll be gathering resources, and you're trying to guide your nation's technology by advancing along your tech trees and using your action tokens to do so. And then you move to the salvation phase, where you'll flip over your action tokens and you'll use your resources to contribute to the construction of the interstellar spaceship and hopefully rescue humanity. You'll be earning reputation and prestige by using the other side of these tokens and doing various things. But then you finish with the government phase, and it's really used to clean up and prepare for that next action phase. So those, again, just broad strokes to give you an idea, but you really hope to be the governor to lead the way into the future and have the most prestige by the end of the game. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been prototype form. So keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, I'm really looking forward to the published version of this game, adding the 3D components to the planets, to the buildings, to your spaceships. Really cool aspects that they're working on for sure. Now, it is a deep strategy game. You have to be planning 2-3 moves ahead what you're going to be doing and gearing up, trying to get the best prestige points, and also trying to build out those spaceships, beat the clock of the sun racing towards the Earth or expanding towards the Earth. And I really like the different decisions that you have to make. They're all very meaningful in how you put together the resources and the exploration of your own solar system to save humanity. All right, folks, if this looks like something of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it from me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.